that. I know on the Escape, you can go 37 miles of just pure electric bliss, Doc Brown passion. You know what I'm saying? Before the combustion kicks in and you start making noise. Hybrid cars, electric cars. No V8s. We're not talking about V8s today. We're not talking about anything kind of like that. We're talking about mile per gallon, fuel economy, putting more money back in your pocket. Last year in 2024, vehicle sales, of all vehicle sales in the United States, hybrids, whether it's plug-in hybrid, which, okay, let's discuss this because I didn't really know what a PHEV and just an HEV. Okay, the PHEV is like the Escape we're going to look at. That is a plug-in hybrid electric vehicle. Now, if you drop the P and you just have an HEV, that just stands for hybrid electric vehicle. That just means that the engine regenerates the power. Hey, what's happening, brother? What's happening? The engine rejuvenates the power and you don't have to plug it into the wall. Like on the Escape right there, there's a plug-in thing that you can plug in anyway. We'll get to all that later. 20% of all vehicle sales were hybrids. The Ford Escape sold 146,000 units last year. I don't know the number. I couldn't differentiate between hybrids and non-hybrids, combustion. So we're just going to go with 146,000 plus. Casey, that's really good. That's a big number. No, it's really not. The Toyota RAV4 sold 475,000 plus. So almost triple. So there's almost 3 Toyota RAV4s for one Ford Escape. But it is what it is. You know why that is? First of all, no shame to the Ford Escape. The Escape is fighting its battle. It is winning its war. It's doing what it can do. Toyota doesn't have a lot of full electric vehicles. They do a lot of hybrids. Toyota's got hybrids pretty much down to a science. They don't make a lot of mistakes. I think every single model they have is offered in a hybrid. Every single model, including the trucks. I know the Taco and the Tundra do. I'm pretty sure the Sequoia does. Anyway, 1.9 million hybrid vehicles sold in 2024. 1.9 million. Anyway, let's get on with this. Ford gained 7.5% of the market share, but Toyota's got, I think it's like 25%. I mean, Toyota's crushing it. They had a bad year in hybrids. They would have said it was an off year for them, but they still ahead of every single person. However, Car and Driver, they don't look at it like that. Car and Driver actually has the RAV4 ranked 7th, which means it falls behind the Ford Bronco Sport, which is the Ford Escape's cousin. But anyway, we're not going to talk about all that. All right, let's talk about just the Toyota RAV4. God, we've done all this running and we're just now getting to the specs. 203 horsepower. 203 horsepower. That's with all systems going. There's a TRD model that's got more than that, but that is what the one we're looking at right here is. Which this is, I want to stay real quick. I have to deal with what I got to deal with. That is a brand new Ford Escape that we have a 2024, and that's a 2019 RAV4. The bodies may be a little bit different, the interiors may be a little bit different, but the running gear's pretty much the same. All right, we got a 2.5 liter 4-cylinder right there, 0 to 60 in 7.4 seconds. Top of the line is a limited. You start with the base LE. A base model is going to run you somewhere around 30,000, 29,000. They run all the way up to about 44, 45 for the TRD, Zuzus and whammed out, all-wheel drive, sunroof, tow hooks, you know, the whole kit and caboodle. The baddest Toyota RAV4, but don't spend $45,000 and $46,000 on that. Just go ahead and bump up to something else. But anyway, let's keep on going. 33 miles per gallon is the average on the Toyota RAV4, which I thought was a little low. Casey, if you want better gas mileage, get the Corolla. Well, we'll talk about that later. We're talking about the RAV4 right now, okay? So anyway, that's about all we got to talk about the RAV4. The interior is very utilitarian. A lot of hard plastic, no squish, none of that. I'm assuming the Limited would have some squish. This is more of a baser model. It is all-wheel drive. which they can come in front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive, just like the Ford Escape can. Anyway, plenty of room. Actually, the Toyota RAV4 was bigger inside than the Ford Escape, especially in the back seat, front seat, whatever. You can adjust that and do whatever. But the back seat, people would be happier in the RAV4. Cargo looked about the same. They both have spare tires. Why did you mention that? That's not important. Sometimes you don't get a spare tire. Just because, anyway, that used to be a thing. Now you get a lot of air compressors, especially like Mustangs and Vets and stuff like that. They're gonna have, sorry, I don't wanna get the skeety corners. They're gonna have air compressors because they run in 22-inch rims and 20-inch rims. Anyway, manufacturers don't wanna spend all the money on that, so they just throw a little air compressor in there. All right, that's about all I got to talk about the Toyota RAV4. I was a little surprised that Car and Driver had it ranked 7th. Number 1, by the way, I guess I should read that list. Number 1 was the Honda CR-V. Number 2 was the Mazda CX-50. Number 3 was the Mazda CX-5. Number 4 was the Bronco Sport. Number 5 was the Tiguan. The Volkswagen Tiguan is fantastic. Not quite as big an SUV as these guys are, or crossover-y, more of a wagon style, but still very good. Okay, Ford Escape, 146,000 units sold. Not bad for the Escape. It's slower than the RAV4. I was kind of surprised about this, depending upon which publication you read, and they change from publication to car. Car and Driver says this, Motor Trend says this, Ford Authority says this. Anyway, I'm gonna go with about 192 horsepower and about 210 pound-feet of torque. 0 to 60 is done in 7.7 to 8 seconds, so the RAV4 is quicker, no ifs, ands, or buts, no way around it. It does have, I should have looked up how many miles you can get on electricity only on the RAV4, but I forgot to look up that stat. I know on the Escape, you can go 37 miles of just pure electric bliss, Doc Brown passion. You know what I'm saying? Before the combustion kicks in and you start making noise. Anyway, mile per gallon, it's a lot better in the Escape. About 36 to 44. I'd say you're probably gonna reel right there somewhere in the middle, so 44. So you're talking 3 to 5 mile per gallon better on the Escape. All right, the price on this Escape, this is Zuzu'd and wham-whammed. I think the only thing we don't have up there is the twin panel moonroof, because that's expensive. That's almost 42 grand worth of Ford Escape. Full-on decked out, the most expensive Ford Escape I've ever seen was 44, and that was at ST line with every Zuzu and wham-wham you could imagine. They're both running about the same thing. Toyota will probably be a little bit more expensive because you pay a premium for Toyota, but then again, you pay a premium for Ford. Anyway, they're gonna be about the same price, give or take. Used car markets, things like that. You don't want to check that out. If that's too steep of a price, you can always find something cheaper used, always. And you still get a lot of good warranties, but that's a whole nother video, something else. I guess that's about all I got to say about these two. I've never owned a hybrid personally myself, never owned a full-on electric car. I would definitely take the plunge into a hybrid for sure. I wouldn't even, electric car, I'm a little iffy about that. I travel a lot, so that might be a problem for me, just personally. But a plug-in hybrid or just a regular hybrid, I think they're good. Between these two, sorry about the wind. Between these two, I'd probably go with a Toyota, only because Toyota's been playing the hybrid game for a really long time. Ford has a great hybrid system. But don't listen to me. Please do your own research, as I say all the time. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to listen to me run my flapper about these two little small crossovers. Thank you so much for watching. Have a hot day.